Hello everyone and welcome back to another video. I hope you are doing well and I welcome you back if you're here again, and if it's your first time here then hello for the first time. My name is Max and this is my ASMR channel. So today's video I wanted to talk about some things that I like a lot, which is records. I already did a video on my record collection, my vinyl record collection, not too long ago, but recently I brought two new vinyls. They are both soundtracks. One's for a film, one's for a television series. If you've seen the thumbnail you'll know what they are. This is going to be hopefully a fun video, so sit down, relax, do whatever. And I'm also going to try and make my videos a tiny bit longer because some people have been asking for longer content, which I totally understand because of ASMR, you know, it's good to have longer content. My window's open, I'm going to go shut my window. I'm back from closing my window. I'm very sorry about any extra noises today. I'm at my desk because this is a good point to film, but unfortunately the desk is kind of rickety, so when I move it or lean on it, sometimes it creates a annoying sound, so I hope that doesn't bother anybody out there. So I might as well get on with the records. This very first one is Lost in Translation. I'm sorry about my chair as well. It's really squeaky, so I'm sorry if that makes noise too. But this is Lost in Translation. The soundtrack from Lost in Translation. Lost in Translation is a very famous film directed by Sofia Coppola, starring Scarlett Johansson and Bill Murray. Released in 2003, I want to say. Let me check. Yes, 2003. So I believe this is a new version of the soundtrack, I presume. So here's the cover art. This is, I believe, the opening shot of the movie where Scarlett Johansson's asleep. I think it's a very striking image for an album cover, and like with the obvious, the fact that it's Scarlett Johansson's backside aside, it's quite an aesthetically pleasing cover. It's very minimalist. It's got the font there, film written and directed by Sofia Coppola. And if you haven't seen the film, it's essentially about two people who are Americans who meet in Japan, essentially. I like the film, I like Sofia Coppola's work, but I always prefer her films for their technical aspects more than the writing. I think the writing of her films can be a bit lacking. I love her soundtracks and her sound design. She always works with the greatest people. So this works. One of my other soundtracks I own, which I showed off in my final video, is The Virgin Suicide, which is my favourite Sofia Coppola movie. Complete coincidence I own two Sofia Coppola soundtracks. Like, I didn't even consider it really, I just saw this. They're both new releases and I thought they look cool. But this one was produced and like put together by Kevin Shields, who, if you know alternative music, you'll know Kevin Shields because he's the guitarist and the main guy in My Bloody Valentine, the shoegaze band. So the track listing for this LP is as such. Side A has Intro, Tokyo, which is a sound collage, sound design by Richard Beggs. City Girl by Kevin Shields, which is the second song. Shibuya, I don't speak Japanese, I'm sorry, by Brian Reitzel and Roger J. Manning, which is seems to be another sound design type one. Fantino by Sebastien Tellier, who I think Tellier is pronounced, French musician. Goodbye by Kevin Shields. Girls by Death in Vegas. Tom Ebe by Square Pusher, which is a great song, very, very short, instrumental, ambient, great song. and Too Young by Phoenix, the French band, who Phoenix have appeared on a lot of Sofia Coppola's soundtracks. I believe they've worked with, don't quote me on this, but I believe that Jason Schwartzman was a touring drummer for them at one point, or he's worked with them, and Jason Schwartzman is Sofia Coppola's cousin, I want to say. He's one of my favourite actors. And on side B, we get Kaze wo Atsumete by A Happy End, which is a really good 1971, this is apparently Japanese song, which I think is on streaming now, but it didn't used to be. But it's really great. I love that song, so that's one of the reasons I brought this for that. Then On the Subway by Brian Wright's own Roger J. Manning Jr. Ikebana by Kevin Shields. Sometimes by My Bloody Valentine. Alone in Kyoto by Air. Are You Awake by Kevin Shields. And Just Like Honey by the Jesus and Mary Chain, which very famously plays at the end of the movie. And on the back, this is the back design. So you got pictures of the film. Just gonna have a look as Bill Murray in the elevator, Scott Johansson, there's Japan. I think that's at the ending, yes, that's at the ending of the movie. And obviously, Scott Johansson's there. I believe you say Johansson, I've always said that, it might be Johansson, but I presume it's Johansson. They're both very, very good in this movie. I believe this is Bill Murray's personal favourite movie he's ever done, though I think Rushmore was his best. That's my Jason Schwartzman bias. So here's the record. I don't want to tap on it too hard, obviously, because I don't want to damage it, but it's got the covering on it, so it's fine. I'm not tapping on the actual record, I wouldn't do that. So there you can see. Side A and side B around. So, like I say, I really like this film soundtrack. And I believe there's a hidden track as well. After Just Like Honey, Bill Murray's rendition of More Than This by Roxy Music you can hear, which is fun. So I haven't played this one yet, I literally got it the other day, but these sort of soundtrack albums are always very good, I think, for when you're reading or relaxing and such. So that's my first vinyl, and I got here, Lost in Translation. So that's the very first one. The next soundtrack I got was music from Twin Peaks by Angelo Badalamenti. Fantastic composer. He did most of David Lynch's stuff, but he did lots of stuff. He was a very good composer. But this was Twin Peaks is a TV show created by David Lynch and Mark Frost. I think people always underestimate Mark Frost, who is responsible for the bulk of a lot of the story, but two people, so David Lynch is a very famous filmmaker. You'll know his movies like Blue Velvet, Eraserhead, Mulholland Drive, The Elephant Man, lots of movies. Well, actually not lots of movies, but he's done quite a few movies you'll probably know if you're into film. And Twin Peaks is the TV show that these guys created together. Mark Frost is a TV writer. I should have also mentioned that. I think Hill Street Blues was the show he worked on. He worked on like cop procedurals. And this is the show they came together to make, which it premiered in 1989 and was cancelled in 1991, then was revived in 2017. And it's probably the most important television show of the last 40 years, if not ever. Every single modern drama owes something to Twin Peaks, because it was one of the first times that a TV show was made with the sort of aesthetics and production of a film. Because obviously a filmmaker, David Lynch, directed the pilot. It was like the first time that had really happened. Miami Vice was obviously predated it, which Michael Mann would produce that the first few seasons, but I think that's a bit different. Miami Vice still kind of feels like it's very high budget for its time, but Miami Vice is like every episode is like an individual one, a bit like Columbo in the same way. You know, those were long, but they were episodic in nature, whereas Twin Peaks was a serialized TV series. It was pretty much the first one to have a long-running, like have a story and overarching narrative and be filmed like a movie. And essentially Twin Peaks revolves around the town of Twin Peaks, which is located in Washington, just south of the Canadian border at the top of Washington, and is about a murder that goes on the small town of a girl named Laura Palmer, who is a popular girl in the town who gets murdered, and an FBI agent named Dale Cooper shows up to investigate the murder. And it's about the mixture of the murder investigation. Sorry, I knocked something. It's about a mixture of the murder investigation mixed with the lives of the townspeople. And the show is very multifaceted. It's a drama, it's a crime drama, it's a romance, but it's also a comedy. It's not a comedy, but it's also very funny. And a lot of the show is also parody. There's a lot of the romance and the drama is sort of making fun of soap operas of the time. But the way I think people get Twin Peaks wrong is they sort of act like because it's a parody of a soap opera, there's nothing, you know, you can't enjoy it as a story, you have to enjoy it as a parody. I don't think that's the case whatsoever. The whole point of the show is you are still meant to be invested in these characters and the love lives and all the stuff. Like, if it was just a parody and you weren't supposed to be invested, they wouldn't have made the show. And I think people a lot of the time can't discern that you can still have something that's satirical and have elements of parody, but you can still enjoy on the surface level. A bit of a tangent, but a good something similar would be the show Clone High, which I love. Clone High, it's one of my favourite shows, the original one. I haven't bothered with the revival, but because that is a parody of teen shows of the era like Dawson's Creek and stuff like that, people seem to think that you aren't supposed to care about the romances and the love triangle and the characters, and people complain that the revival focused too much on that and was written by people who took it seriously. But you're not supposed to not take it seriously. It's there for a reason, but it can still be a parody at the same time. A lot of people online seem to lack the ability to comprehend that something can both be a parody and satirical and also be something you can take seriously and enjoy. It kind of annoys me because it's essentially the same as saying, well, then you shouldn't care about the plot of the thick of it because it's just satire, it's just a parody. Or you know, you can't have an attachment to the characters in Veep because it's you know, it's a satire, it's a parody. It's not how satire and parody work. But I think it's because the term parody has become to be associated with the absolute garbage that was made in like the 2000s, like the post-Scary Movie ones, like Superhero Movie, where, you know, parodies are like ridiculously over the top, completely not serious. And I think people have, and also very mean-spirited, and people have kind of taken that's what parody means. They don't really understand that a parody and a pastiche can be loving and have layers. But that's my rant, because Twin Peaks is so much more than just one thing. It's everything. It's so good. And on the back, so here's the design. This is the, it's not, I don't think it's the exact shot because I think it's more zoomed in, because the show is also in a different aspect ratio, but this is pretty much the opening title card to the show. You can see the town sign, and this is the font, Twin Peaks. So very minimalistic cover art, but it's great and it reflects it. And on the back we have track listing. The background photo, I believe, is of, yes, it's the Great Northern Hotel up here and the waterfall. I can't remember what the actual real life waterfall is called. So then, okay, so on the back we have most main characters on the show. I think there's actually a missing one or two, and there's a few characters who really aren't that relevant, but I'm going to go through them. So you've got Dale Cooper, played by Kyle MacLachlan. Some of these I'll probably have to check who they are or who plays them, but for the most part I can try and, because I can't see the camera because my camera's reflected, so I can't read it. Harry Truman, Sheriff Truman, Michael Onkian, I think that's his name. Madge as Shelley Johnson. Dana Ashbrook as Bobby Briggs. Richard Beymer, who was in the original West Side Story, as Ben Horne. Laura Flynn Boyle as Donna Hayward. Got Sherilyn Fenn as Audrey Horne. Here's Warren Frost, who's Mark Frost's dad. Who's his dad in real life, as Dr. Hayward, who was Donna's father. Here, I believe that's Norma. Yeah, that's Peggy Lipton, Norma Jennings, who is, I believe she's Rashida Jones's mother, with Quincy Jones, I believe. And a bit of Max trivia there for you. Here's James Hurley, played by James Marshall. Here's Big Ed, played by Everett McGill. Here's Jack Nance, who plays Pete Martell. Ray Wise plays Leland Palmer, which is Laura Palmer's dad. I should probably tell you who most of these characters are. This is Dale Cooper's the main character, he's the FBI agent. He's the sheriff. These two are having an affair. He's the rich guy in town who is her dad. She's Laura's best friend. He's Laura's lover, though she was also going out with Bobby at the time. But she owns the diner. So there's Ray Wise, who's Laura's dad. Joan Chen as Josie Packard. Yeah, Josie Packard, who I think she owns the mill. I always get confused with the logistics of there. And there's Catherine Martell, who's Pete's wife, played by the late Piper Laurie, who was also in Carrie. She played Carrie's mum. Here's Leo Johnson. There we go, Leo Johnson, who's Eric DeRay. Andy Brennan, I think, played by Harry Goers. Deputy Hawk, played by Michael Horse. There's Laura Palmer, played by Cheryl Lee. Leo is Shelley's husband, abusive husband. There's Dr. Jacoby, who is Laura's therapist, played by Russ Tamblyn, who is also in West Side Story. Grace Zabriskie, who plays Laura's mother, Sarah Palmer. There's Kimmy Robertson, who plays Lucy, the receptionist at the police station. There's Jerry Horne, who's played by Michael Patrick Kelly, is he called? David Patrick Kelly, sorry. There's Hank Jennings, which is Norma's husband, who's in jail, played by Chris Mulkey. Here's Albert, played by Miguel Ferreira, who is, he works at the FBI, I can't remember his exact job. I think he does the autopsies, he works at the FBI. There's, I don't want to say her name because I think it can be construed as offensive these days. Victoria Caitlin plays her, who is like the owner of the casino One Eye Jacks. Here's Major Briggs, played by Donnie Davis, who was also in Stargate. This is, I believe, this is Briggs' wife. Here's Betty Briggs, played by Charlotte Stewart. Here's the Log Lady, played by Catherine Coulson. Everyone loves the Log Lady. Here's Mike, that's Bobby's best friend. Major Briggs is like an ex-military guy, and she's the crazy old lady with a log in the town. Though she's not actually crazy, but that's what you're sort of led to believe. That's not a spoiler or anything, because this show is very cryptic about stuff, but Gary Hirschberger plays Mike Nelson. Here's Nadine. Who plays Nadine? Wendy Roby. Who, Nadine is married to Ed, but Ed loves Norma. Then who's this? Oh, that's Mary Jo Deschanel, who plays Eileen Hayward, who's Donna's mum. That's Zoe and Mary Deschanel's mother, and their father also wrote for Twin Peaks. This is, I believe this is the Horns' mother. Yeah, Jen Darcy is Sylvia Horne. I do not remember her being in the show at all. I think she's in the pilot. I don't remember her being ever beyond that point. Oh, actually, she's in The Return, which is the revival, for one scene. That's the one-armed man, Al Strobel. There's Michael J. Anderson, who's a terrible person, who plays the Arm, aka the man from another place, but the Arm is his actual name. There's Bob, who's played by Frank Silva, who's sort of the villain. Once again, it's very difficult to explain Twin Peaks to someone who hasn't watched it. Here's Renette Pulaski, I believe she's Phoebe Augustine, yes, Renette Pulaski, who's the other girl who was attacked at the same time as Laura, but she's still alive. There's Julie Cruz, who appears in The Nightclub Singing, She was a musician. That's Johnny Horn. That's Audrey's mentally disabled brother, who once again is in 3 scenes, played by Robert Bauer. And then at the end we have Diane, which is the woman Cooper talks to on his little cassette. If you watch my last video, I do like a talking into a thing. I don't have a cassette, and I'm sort of doing that. Though we do actually see Diane in the return, but in the original show we don't. And the song listing is the Twin Peaks theme, Laura Palmer's theme, Audrey's Dance, The Nightingale with vocals by Julie Cruz, Freshly Squeezed, and side 2 has The Bookhouse Boys, Into the Night, vocals by Julie Cruz, Nightlife and Twin Peaks, Dance of the Dream Man, Wolf Theme from Twin Peaks, and Falling with vocals by Julie Cruz, which is the theme song but with lyrics. Really, really beautiful. I was listening to this while reading yesterday. I think it's one of the most beautiful score ever put for anything. I really love the show. Twin Peaks is one of my favourite shows, and I love the music. The music is such an integral part of it. I kind of wish that because there's a bunch of other really great pieces, but they aren't on here, and I believe they were like debuted in like season 2, but I don't know. I don't think that soundtrack has ever been reprinted on vinyl because it's, you know, it's not as iconic as this one. But I would love for them to repress that. I think that would be excellent. So you can see the record as well. Not really much to see, they're just records, they aren't special or anything. I mean, they're special music-wise, but the design of the records isn't anything special, so. But that is this video, I believe. This is going to be this video. I hope you've enjoyed, if you stuck around this long. Bit of a longer video. I'm going to try and record maybe some more videos. Now, maybe not now. I'm sort of running out of time. I have to record when the house is free because otherwise there's going to be noise in the background. So, if I'm in the next video wearing the exact same outfit as I am now, it's because I have just recorded another video. But if not, I hope you enjoyed this video, and as I always say on this channel, stay beautiful.